David here, out of concern for everyone's well-being and all that, I'm deeply worried that you've not as yet subscribed to this most excellent channel.
This is the world-famous Chi-Cheemaun Ferry. It's a beacon of civilized travel in Kazakhstan, plying the waters of Lake Huron from the probably historic town of Tobermory to the southern tip of Manitoulin Island. It's owned and operated by the good people at the Owen Sound Transportation Company and is relatively new to the game of getting tourists and other hopefuls from A to B and back again. Chi-Cheemaun makes the 40-kilometer, or for anyone confused by simple base 10 mathematics, the 21.9178 Brooklyn Bridges long trip in about 1 hour and 45 minutes, 3 times each day during peak season, and twice a day when the numbers start to dry up. It features drive-on, drive-off bow and stern loading, and unloading is 111 meters long with a 19-meter beam, and has capacity for 648 passengers and 143 vehicles, including buses and trucks. As of 2022, she is the third largest passenger vessel sailing the Great Lakes after the expedition cruise liner Viking Octanus and the U.S. ferry SS Badger. And for you etymological nerds out there, the name Chi-Cheemaun, when translated, means big canoe. So when did all of this maritime merriment get its start? All the way back in 1921, when 3 Owen Sound businessmen and owners of the North American Bent Chair Company founded the Owen Sound Transportation Company, known as the OSTC. Now, this is not to be confused with the CBC, which is another dubious Canadian institution which sadly saw its birth in 1936, but I digress. Anyway, these guys went and bought themselves a steamboat, the SS Michipicoten, to buy supplies along the north shore of Lake Huron and Manitoulin Island, and deliver finished bentwood chairs from Owen Sound to the soon-to-be-seated Canadian public. As a side note, it's not the SS Michipicoten that snapped in half in 1972 while being towed off of Anticosti Island in the St. Lawrence River and then sank. Or the one that was originally called Elton Hoyt II, whoever that was, that entered service in 1952 and was renamed Michipicoten in 2003 after being bought by the Lower Lakes Towing Company. That one developed a cracked hull in June of 2024 and almost sank in Lake Superior. It should be stated that neither of these similarly named vessels ever carried chairs for the unwashed masses. It also establishes the fact that naming your boat after a Canadian river is probably a very, very bad idea. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's go back to 1926, which, on an unrelated note, marked the first successful flight of a liquid-fueled rocket in Auburn, Massachusetts, by the one and only Robert H. Goddard. That same year, OSTC purchased a steel-hulled steamer, the Majeska, and used it to make excursions to Killarney, Sault Ste. Marie, and also Manitoulin and Mackinac Islands. In 1928, these same guys couldn't help themselves and added the SS Monasu, another excursion and cargo ship. 1931, they launched yet another vessel called the MS Normac because, well, why not? And then, because they were on a roll and there was no one there to stop them, that very same year, the Gang of 3 called the OSTC purchased a competitor's service and their favorite steamer, the SS Kagawang. Over the next 30 years, the MS Normac provided seasonal ferry service between Tobermory and Manitoulin Island. During that time, OSTC merged with the Dominion Transportation Company, added a new ship, the SS Norisle, and then in 1963 bought the MS Norgoma to handle increased traffic. And to think that your last shopping spree was when you bought more than one pair of shoes online on the same day. Not even close. Finally, in 1974, Ontario Northland Transportation Company, the ONTS, acquired OSTC and launched the state-of-the-art MS Chi-Cheemaun. Manitoulin Island never knew what was about to hit her. Fast forward to 2002 when the Euro started confusing the French, Germans, and Italians on a whole new level. Much to England's glee, who were quite used to chaos. After all, they drive on the wrong side of the road, and until 1971 would give you change for your pound using base 12 mathematical sorcery, technically known as a mixed duodecimal vigesimal currency system where 12 pence equals 1 shilling, 20 shillings or 240 pence to the quid, blah, 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 it thankfully saw its blessed demise when the UK converted to decimalization. What does this have to do with the Chi-Cheemaun? Absolutely nothing. However, if you're ever stuck in a corner and some random numismatist is banging on about his particularly interesting collection of international banknotes, feel free to bust out the aforementioned factoid. Oh, and by the way, you're welcome. Moving on. Eventually, the folks at the OSTC realized that the Ontario Northland Transportation Company was an old boys club and had an unhealthy obsession with rail travel, and decided that they needed to march to the beat of their own drum. Separating from ONTC in 2002, Owen Sound Transportation Company became an operational enterprise agency of the province of Ontario and owner of the MS Chi-Cheemaun and MV Niska 1. The company is also contracted by the Ontario Ministry of Transportation to provide year-round transportation service to Pelee Island on Lake Erie. Sadly, there are no more chairs, bent or otherwise, in this particular story. Reviews on TripAdvisor are mixed and messy, with thoughts ranging from it being a less than honest operation.
I can't believe they expect me to get here ahead of time for the sailing. Completely unreasonable. Total scam.
Weird, I know. Or the guy that called his particular take,
That was the worst food I ever had in my life. How could they in good conscience serve that to anyone? I think the chef hates people. Also kittens.
I'll bet his suitcase now comes with a handy family-sized stomach pump. However, the best of the 600 plus reviews, generally written as a form of protest or civil disobedience, take your pick, was by someone suffering from main character syndrome, who said,
They sailed even though the weather was windy. The boat leaned over. I almost fell down. The crew didn't care about my suffering. I will wear a life jacket in case we get hit by a rope wave next time.
Oddly, she gave them a 4 out of 5. Best wishes and all that, Bernadette. If you've ever had a chance to sail on the Chi-Cheemaun, please let us know in the comments below. And if your future plans include a visit to Manitoulin Island, please give Guy and Pam our warm regards. And as always, thanks for watching.
We here on the channel wholeheartedly endorse the content of this channel as being genuine content.